You think you're better than me? You're just a farmer. That's what Karen Whitmore spit at me, right in the middle of the HOA office, face all twisted up like she'd bitten into a lemon. Just because I slid her little water cooperation agreement right back across her fancy desk. She wanted my signature on something that would have basically legalized what she'd already stolen. The best part? She had no clue what I'd uncovered out in my fields. No idea that her shiny new fountain was about to be the biggest mistake of her life. Now, you're probably sitting there wondering if this is going to be another one of those little guy gets crushed stories. Hang tight. Drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from. I could use the backup. But before we get to the good part, let me back up a sec. Take you to where this all started. Tuesday, 6:30 in the morning, air cold enough to bite through denim. Me with coffee in hand, walking the east field to check my irrigation system had been running weak for days. I'm thinking clogged filter, maybe the pump's about to give up the ghost. What I found, though, I'll never forget. There's a fresh trench cutting across the corner of my property, dirt still soft, maybe 2 weeks old by the look of it, coming straight from Meadowbrook Heights. I set down my coffee, kneel in that cold earth, start digging. And bam, there's a 4-inch PVC pipe, buried about 1.5 feet deep, running straight through land that's been in my family since 1952. Didn't say a word, just started walking, following that pipe with my phone out, snapping pictures every step, GPS coordinates, timestamps, you name it. That trench ran right past the old cornfield, past the big oak where my granddad used to push me on a tire swing, every bit of it crossing our land. Whoever laid it knew exactly what they were doing. 2. Avoided every main irrigation line, which meant they'd seen utility maps they never should have had. Pipe ended at my lake, hooked up to a submersible pump, half hidden in the reeds. That's when it all snapped together. This wasn't some, oops, sorry about the boundary accident. This was theft. Straight up. I'd been getting letters from Meadowbrook Heights for 1.5 years. You know, complaints about everything from my livestock to the way my tractor sounded at sunrise. I used to laugh, toss them in a drawer. But there was one about my odor affecting their community wellness, and now I wondered if that was just them testing how much I'd take before I pushed back. Well, turns out I'd take a lot, but not this. Never this. I walked to the edge of my property, where it meets the HOA's common area, and there's a big yellow sign. Landscape Improvement Project. Approved by board resolution. Contractor listed as Precision Landscape LLC. And right at the bottom, Karen Whitmore, President. You ever get so mad you just stand there staring at something? That was me. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, whiskey in hand, searching every county record I could find. No easement, no permit, no legal doc, nothing. I checked the contractors. Registry, address, sure, but no permits tied to my land. By 3 a.m., I'd built a timeline. They did all this without one shred of legal authority. I thought of my granddad, sitting out on that porch, with me as a kid, watching the sunset hit the lake, him telling me, Caleb, this land feeds us. Anybody tries to take from it without asking, you teach them a lesson with the same thing they tried to steal. Never made sense to me back then, but now, sitting in the dark, phone full of evidence, it clicked. I knew what I had to do. Next morning, I'm at the HOA office as soon as the doors open. That place is all brick, hedges cut sharper than Karen's jawline, plaque out front bragging about their community values. The receptionist looked at me like I'd tracked manure through her marble. Foyer, do you have an appointment? She asks. I just say, need to talk to your president. It's about construction on my property. She made me sit in a tiny chair for 45 minutes. Finally, Karen shows up, cream blazer, forced smile. Mr. Thornton, I understand you have concerns about our landscape improvement initiative. I just show her the photos. This pipe runs through my property, ends at my lake. Who approved this, and when will it be removed? Her smile twitches. She takes me to her office, walls covered in certificates, charity photos, you name it. Sits behind her desk, starts talking like I'm too dumb to understand. Our board approved this through proper channels, resolution authorizing the use of adjacent water resources for beautification. I nearly laughed. Adjacent water resources? You mean my lake, my land, not part of your community. Never has been. She waves it off, starts lecturing about the collective good. telling me their homeowners voted to improve common areas. Says the fountain will be the crown jewel. She actually asks me to appreciate the value of community aesthetics. I tell her, straight, I'm not a member. Your resolutions don't apply to me or my property. You can't vote to take my water any more than you can vote to take my truck. Her eyes go hard. You have plenty of water. A small amount diverted for community purposes won't affect your operations. She's not even pretending to care. How much are you taking? I ask. She shrugs. Not my department. Our contractor handles that. I tell her she's got 30 days to pull that pipe, or I'll file a formal complaint. She stands up, leans in, tries the intimidation route, says their association has legal resources, that they'll make it very expensive and very time-consuming for me if I push this. Then she drops the health department threat, tells me there have been multiple complaints about my farm's sanitary conditions. I just nod, thank her, and leave, because what she doesn't know is my farm's passed every inspection for 40 years. I get in my truck, staring at their iron gates, thinking, she really thinks she's untouchable. But what she actually gave me was gold, a timeline, a public ceremony, a crowd. I start making notes. Crown jewel ceremony. A couple days later, I'm at a diner with Harold Jennings, a retired board member I found in their old meeting minutes. The guy's nervous, but as soon as I mention the fountain, he opens up, tells me Karen pitched it from the start, got the board to approve $47,000 from the reserves. He says the fountain they put in is worth 12, maybe 15 grand. The rest? Someone pocketed the difference. And get this, Precision Landscape LLC, the contractor Karen picked, is owned by her brother-in-law, Ronald Whitmore. Harold hands me a folder with every document you can imagine, budget sheets, invoices, emails, the smoking gun. Turns out, Karen needed my water because if she'd hooked up to city water, there'd be bills, and bills mean reports. She needed something free and invisible, my lake. She built her whole scam on it. I hire a surveyor, get a report that proves the pipe crosses my land. No easement, no right-of-way. I call a water management firm. They confirm the pump is pulling 400 gallons a day, enough to run a commercial fountain, and more than enough to hurt my crops. I do the math, $34,000 in damages, easy. I show all this to my lawyer. He says I've got an airtight case. For trespass, damages, even fraud. But I tell him to wait. There's a public event coming, and I want every card on the table at once. Meanwhile, Karen's lawyer sends me a thick packet accusing me of harassment, threatening countersuits, calling my claims baseless. She's doubling down, digging herself deeper. 12 days before the ceremony, I check my calendar. That's when I realize, whatever flows through that pipe on dedication day, that's my call. The fertilizer tank in my pump house sits right next to her unauthorized connection, 3,000 gallons of agricultural nutrients. As legal owner, I control what goes through any pipe on my land. The law says so. 8 days out, I get confirmation, no permits, no applications, nothing on file for Karen's fountain. It's all illegal. I organize every scrap of evidence, property docs, surveyor reports, flow data, Harold's folder, FOIA letters, ready for whatever comes next. 5 days before the ceremony, I mail out 247 letters to every homeowner in Meadowbrook Heights. Plain English, your fountain is running off stolen water via a pipe the HOA ran through my land with no permission. Here's the proof. Phones start ringing, some residents furious, some supportive, some just confused. 3 days out, there's a petition for an independent audit, 43 signatures. Karen responds with her own letter, calling me an agitator, blaming outside misinformation, promising transparency, but only after the ceremony, of course. Night before the big event, Karen herself calls me. Tries one last time to intimidate, lawyers, threats, the works. I tell her flat, enjoy your ceremony. I have a feeling nobody will forget it. Next morning, weather's perfect. Crowd of 200, press everywhere. Karen up on stage in her Sunday best, milking the applause, talking about community and beauty and excellence. Then she hits the button. Instead of crystal clear water, the fountain shoots 15 feet of brownish-green fertilizer straight into the air. Ammonia and sulfur stench hits everyone like a brick wall. Kids cry, people scream, Her cream dress is ruined, her hair's dripping, makeup running, everything covered in farm fertilizer. Her big day, done in 5 seconds. I step forward, hold up the folder, and lay it out for everyone. This is what happens when you build your dreams on stolen land. Here's your evidence. Unauthorized pipe, illegal project, $65,000 paid to Karen's brother-in-law for work worth 15 at most. The crowd turns on her. Where's our money? Why no permit? How long have you lied to us? The press is recording everything. Karen's excuses can't save her. 6 weeks later, Karen Whitmore's charged, embezzlement, trespass, building violations. She pleads out, restitution, probation, banned from every HOA board for life. Ronald Whitmore's company is under investigation, license suspended. Karen moves out of state. Reputation in ruins. That video of her fertilizer shower goes viral, 2 million views and counting. People sharing their own HOA horror stories, finally feeling seen. The county removes the pipe from my land. Crops recover, water's back to normal. Even the new HOA board comes to me, asking for a real, legal water sharing agreement, done right this time. I tell them we'll talk after harvest. On the 47th evening, I stand by the lake, sun setting orange over the water. Granddad's words come back. Teach lessons with what they tried to steal. Karen tried to steal my water. In the end, the water exposed everything she was trying to hide. If you made it this far, share your own stories down below. Ever dealt with a Karen who thought the rules didn't apply to her? What's your idea of justice when the powerful overreach? Like, comment, subscribe. Help us spread the word, because knowledge is power and documentation is your best protection. See you on the next one.